Hello everyone, my name is Boris, and today I'm doing another WOD review of Wasian Iverson, who just won the first America's TPC tournament, securing himself a ticket to the Worlds. This time I decided to choose a game from day 2 of the tournament, as I thought it should be interesting to do a line that's maybe not so popular. And in this particular case we're going to be seeing a Veigar's Yordle game. So let's see how we arrived to that spot, and how he manages to pilot a line to still a very good placement. We also have a TF here, but we do get dropped a 2-star Teemo, so this is the one of the spots where playing around Yordle Open is great. Now it's also interesting that we see a TF pair, but unfortunately we have no Ilaois. And as we can see, there's already some people holding Ilaois. We had to think that there wasn't a guy with TF. Oh, it's a TF2 even. So, very strong opener. However, we do have only one other Yordle. Right, so here we get offered deadlier caps, and with an open rod, this is exactly how you would get into a Veigar game. And I assume we're just going to go with that. If we were to play around the TF2, and we had some upgraded frontline, we might consider Shimmer Scale. And Bird Eye Present, not exactly as flexible in the current meta at the highest of the levels as we would imagine, but still a decent econ augment. However, it doesn't work with the tempo as well as it should be. Also get offered Trade 3, which is another great option due to the recent emblem buffs. You can see heavily considering it, trying to see what other people are playing, but we just have this Teemo too. We have also a long shot to tag in for him. We can unlock a Poppy with the Road Slam as well immediately. And hopefully this Teemo should be able to start stacking us some of the AP. Unfortunately, you get a 1 kill here due to a lack of a front line. But yeah, we still are able to make 10. And we're gonna get a Poppy up, and we hope to be able to get into the 4th Yordle as fast as possible to start printing us some of our upgrades. Poppy in general also being a stronger tank quite a bit than the Rumble, especially if we're able to tag in some Juggernauts. But let's see when we do get to start printing some of our upgrades. I believe that's a... Is that a flexible player with a LeBlanc as well? And yeah, the portal is the LeBlanc encounter, so we're here coming up on the 2nd augment. We have clear direction already, so we're probably looking for a way to increase our strength at this point. It would probably be extra belt buckles, as their Axiom gives Sunder, which is not exactly what we need. And branching out has quite some possibilities of just giving us a useless emblem that we are not guaranteed to be able to reforge. Survivor, not something one generally takes in these kind of lobbies, but it's possible if you're trying to play for a win. However, I think Wasian is good at this point on his points. Also, Cold Shot could work out, but we do not have, in theory, but we do not have when we scouted around a little bit to just reassure us that yes, we do not exactly have the spot for it. Gonna skip on making the Kog'Maw 2, but gonna drop a Rumble here with the defenders. Yeah, we're skipping on making Kog'Maw 2 in case we lose. And yeah, this is, we can see clearly why we passed the Cold Shot. We just do not have in any way to assemble, especially in the tempo heavy meta, a way to capitalize on the win streak. And then the augment ends up giving us nothing. We're just gonna grab a 2nd road to secure the 2nd death cap to be able to unlock the Veigar. And perhaps even, which should be slightly off place with deadlier caps, go for a 5 loss into a rebound, but we're still have not been able to pick up a 4th Yordle here, which is a little concerning. Finding a CMB who's partially pretty much opening for the Sona reroll. So we pick up a win here, and I would assume Teemo is quite nice also for stacking these deadlier caps. Now we get the 4th Yordle in. Yeah, but Teemo being able to spread the poison up, he essentially should be able to get a takedown on every single... well, not every single, but most of the units. And I believe that should be counting towards deadlier caps. Trying to end on a 2 win, but we fight Dish Soap with the MF already high rolled. However, no, unfortunately not the healing from the Quick Striker emblem, which is very strong in the comp, pays off, and he has this item advantage as well. Picking up another Teemo, ideally would be seeking some of our frontline upgrades, so because Teemo is very frontline dependent, it's essentially a frontline check, especially now that we just have 2 decaps. Get a full Bramble was dropped here. Yeah, we're just gonna ditch the Teemo here. Not exactly what we are looking for, and unfortunately get offered another Teemo. I would assume we're saving the glove here for a possibility of something like Striker's Flail for a Veigar, because Veigar's ability innately can already crit, so you're not making a JG, but you can make some damage, some crit and damage amp items, which seem to be quite nice on him. I'm not exactly sure what the 3rd best item would be, because I have not had a chance to play the line myself yet. Now, the 3rd augment is oddly enough on 3-2, which is the general timing for a 2nd augment. But again, luxury subscription would lead us into a specific direction. Trade 3 plus now is a consideration, especially since it gives a Reforger, and we would already have 1. And Lucky Gloves, we do have 2, but we could make a couple of Lucky Gloves that could perhaps help us set up like a secondary carry with Fizz and another frontline tank. But we opt to pass on it, and we're just gonna grab trade 3 plus, with the emblems being very strong right now. Unfortunately not exactly the emblems that we're looking for, but Ione could tag together with Cannon. We're just gonna decide to pass on it. The Defender emblem nicely fits with the Poppy Rumble, there we go. And we also managed to get an Arcanist and a Yordle emblem, which is exactly works out quite well. Generally, we're not able to get an Arcanist on the 8 Yordle board unless we go to level 9. And here we have that sorted, and also now we are not concerned of having to find another Yordle, and I believe how many start? No. Yeah, we just get a cannon unlock anyhow. Yeah, we're still missing the Tristana that the Yordle upgrade having as printed, but the Yordle emblem secures the ability for us to start farming free rerolls. It's also very neatly that we got 2 death caps rolling quite soon, as with deadlier caps we are able to start stacking AP on both of them. So this, once we get to this Veigar, he should be able to dish out equip the Nymph. We do go for a glove here. Another glove. Let's see if we do slam a TG, as we are a little lower on the HP and slower on the tempo, and we still just keep getting offered these Teemos in the shop. We do slam a TG here. Yeah, you can see constantly checking the deadlier caps count as well. Now we've unfortunately queued into CMB once he's hit his Sona and the Jarvan. So let's see if we can bypass the stat check. It's only a single Archangel Sona, so unfortunately no. Very, very close, very close, but unfortunately not. Here we unlock the Veigar, full unlock shop, Veigar Fizz, Kobuko. Are able to keep slotting 2 bruisers now by the utilization of that Yordle emblem. And gonna opt to just drop the Arcanist emblem on a Fizz, which would be nice for him to drop the little bit more AP. And thankfully enough, the Fizz on the other side does not take our Veigar out, so we are able to start full mix streak the stage, but hopefully we start a little win streak on here to preserve some HP. Now we pick up a Nico, which... Oh, interesting. So we were able to get 4 Arcanists this way. Wait, this perhaps... I guess then Veigar also is an Arcanist. I've really never had a spot to play around this champion. So this is a nice observation. Here we just push levels to on 4-1 to immediately get editorial in, as that's going to bounce our Econ back up in his worth. Also have a Veigar pair, going to decide to slam Shred here. Have another open road and a cloak that perhaps could become some form of a tank item. So yeah, Veigar is an Arcanist. And we also opted here for a set unlock. Not sure if that was intentional. Yeah, we just decided to skip on it. Get a Veigar 2 now here, which should allow us to deal with the boards that are sacking to go to level 9. Facing a Yunara Volibear board. Seems to be an interesting variation, but I assume they angled the Volibear to the given artifact they had. But it does not... Seems that they lost a little too much tempo earlier in the game, so Quintanilla down on 1 life here. I'm gonna slam the Merlot, keeping a open belt and cloak for... I would assume we're looking either... we could consider something like a BT for the Fizz, or to use the belt as a potential third tank item, something like Spirit Visage. Now unfortunately a tier is on a 1 cost, so let's see what we decide to go for. I'm gonna opt for a Bull, which perhaps we're considering a Nashers as a mana generation. Yes, we are. Also getting close to, yeah, so I'm not sure if the Fizz is being able to spread the Shred as well, but since the Veigar's ability can crit, this gives us some more crit chance, and is also going to get him to do casting a lot faster, which is very neat for us. Now it would be also interesting to note if the best build to go for is through the use of the double death cap, because I've seen also some players spread it out. I'm going to try to dodge the Fizz, and we have also managed to pick up a Cannon 3 to serve as our frontline for now. But we can still see the slight fragility of the Yordle board, as even with these emblems, essentially you are limited to... Well, a Poppy 3 is a real tank. You otherwise have a Kobuko and a Cannon. And a Cannon 3 probably being the best option to go for. You unfortunately just are lacking in the department of a frontline to support the Veigar. And we will see how we make use of the Yordle level. It could become something like a Swain, and then we're able to drop the Lulu for a Ziggs. And then you could also transition the Void Staff to the Ziggs with even maybe an Arcanist emblem. Find a Tristana in the shop, but they're probably going to pass it. I'm going to quickly also do a pause here and just going to check what we have for the suggested items on the Veigar here. So Death cap isn't bad as delta, but however, if you just look at the most prominent builds, blue buff Shojin, a single death cap, or a gunblade seem to perform quite well, and the striker's fail is mentioned. So in short, we're looking at some sort of mana generation supported through a single death cap. But I would assume that if we are running deadlier caps, something like this is not the worst, with essentially single mana generating item. Blue buff did get fixed, as there seemed to be a bug with the way in the previous patches that Veigar got more ability power. I'm assuming that the double death cap build generally without deadlier caps does not perform that as well, since Veigar's ability itself already stacks ability power. However, if we are able to just simply take this fully beyond, then it should not be an issue. Yeah, so Veigar's passive does exactly. Veigar's ability gains him one ability power, and the passive doubles by 50%. So yeah, we opt to just transition the second death cap to the Ziggs. I'm gonna rock your 9 Yordles for now. We do get offered another death cap, but that might be a little too slow at this point in the game. It's already snatched as well. So, not exactly sure what we were going for, but it looks like we're trying to establish a little bit more of a frontline presence. Pick up a we think we remade the Koboko to just pop a PG off. We are holding onto the Swains, but still opting to play an eco for now. Yeah, we are actually tied obviously into the having to play the Lulu, unless we opt to drop one Yordle. Also, the WinCon way of playing this comp is to chase that Veigar 3 generally, as you will lose to some of the Giger capped boards. But now let's see how we fare against the Sona board, generally considered a stat check board. However, once we've gotten to the Ziggs, we have a prominent backline duo carry that we're able to play around. And we will make short work of it. Sitting on 7 copies of Veigar now. And also, yes, the 3 stars are able to scale our Yordles. However, we have opted to not chase other 3 stars, as we are using the econ we've generated to chase some of these upgrades and the Veigar 3. 1 copy off now. Now we hit the Swain to transition it away from the Poppy. Transition away from the, Nico. I was interested why we opted to play with for so long. Perhaps he was valuing the chill effect. However, now we remain to the final 2 with Fandikiki. Just trying to see if we can manage to hit the Veigar 3. However, we are facing a very strong bilge board. And I'm not sure if they got first emblems, their bilge emblems, then this is very insane. Also, we are on the wrong side for the Fizz, which takes our Ziggs out, but I'm not sure if that would have made the difference, as the board is very capped and unfortunately we'll lose and take the 2nd place. However, it's was interesting to see how he managed to pilot the line. Well, it seems like a straightforward comp. It still requires quite some nuance, some technicalities in level timing, and when to go for your upgrades and how to itemize well. And with deadlier caps, being able to recognize a spot and even bounce back from a lower tempo Wasian just shows how it takes skill in not only recognizing your spot, but being able to also adapt to your lobby and play around the timings of how other people are approaching the game. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.